All right, and we are live. Hi there.
Hi.
Uh, Alia and I are happy to have you join us today. And as you come in, we'd love for you to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us where you're viewing from. And go ahead and be thinking as we're talking. I'm going to ask her a bunch of interview questions at the beginning. But if you have a question for her or for myself, but mainly for her, go ahead and think about it and put it in the chat. Put it with a Q or a question mark at the beginning of the question. That helps us be able to look through the comments and find your question very easily and quickly. So, real quick, I'm Jeff, the Everyday Carnivore, and one of the things I love to do is to interview other folks that are on the carnivore journey or they eat keto or other meat-based diets. And so that's one of the reasons that I'm hosting an interview with Alia. So, Alia, go ahead and introduce yourself real quick.
Okay, great. My name's Alia. I live in South America. I live in Colombia, but I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and I love hot dogs and deep dish pizza, at least in my mind. Not anymore. Not
In the
anymore.
past,
In the
right?
past,
Yeah.
you know. And let's see. Someone mentioned Texas. I lived in Texas also for many years, and if I ever move back to the U.S., it won't be Chicago. It'll be Dallas Fort Worth. Okay. Let's see what else. I have two kids, 5 and 7. I'm married to a Colombian, and yeah, I love it here. I fell in love with Colombia when I was doing some work down here. The first morning I was here, and I saw beautiful mountains, which you don't get in Chicago. But like,
Okay.
imagine like a city like New York, and then like mountains just randomly in the city right next to you. And then a few months later, I met my husband. So that's the story. Morning glory. That's it.
Very cool.
Oh, and I started carnivore in March of this year to handle. I was almost 210 pounds, and I am 5'4", so that's kind of round. But in addition to that, I was having like IBS for 6 years, and I often assumed it was because I lived in Colombia. But you think after 7 years, like stomach adjustments would have happened. Like,
Yeah.
your stomach would adjust to the difference of food. So after watching a lot of videos about carnivore, including Jeff, actually, he was one of the first videos I saw from like a random human being doing carnivore. I decided to do
I'm
it.
a random human being.
No, you know what I mean? At the time you were. At the time, oh, look, a random person saying success stories about carnivore. Let me listen to this. And so, yeah, I've been doing it for 6 months now.
All right. So I've put a few of the different folks up on the screen. Here's Mr. and Mrs. Carnivore. I actually
Hello.
interviewed her. He wasn't part of the interview, but I interviewed her a few months ago. Good to see you. And then here's one of my viewers that comments all the time. Dr. AJ is very involved on
Oh,
my channel.
wow. Hi,
And
Dr. AJ. Hola, Dr. AJ. Jota. Doctora Jota. Yo amo Colombia también. Do you speak Spanish or just those 3 words?
all right. Jose, I lost 17 pounds so far, but I'm doing this to see if my MS improves. Oh, okay.
Amazing.
That's super. All right. So, Alia, I want
It's
to go
okay.
ahead and jump into some of
Sure.
my questions for you.
Yeah.
So, guys, I'm going to tell you, I know that about 80% of the people that watch my videos are men. And so when I ask her these questions right out of the gate, you're probably going to think, oh, I don't want to watch that. But it's important. I have a daughter and I have a wife. And so I'm going to ask her some questions that really affect women predominantly. And it's important for us to understand and be able to share knowledge with the women in our lives. And if you're watching this on the replay and you want to skip at any point some of the questions, I'm going to go ahead and put chapters in there, and Alia can copy the chapters into her video description, and so you can scoot ahead if it's something you're not interested in. Okay,
you better be interested. Everyone knows women.
So the very first question I have for you is, What is your protocol for dealing with painful periods? I saw a video early on
Oh, wow.
in your videos on the carnivore diet, and I'm curious if you're still doing the same thing or have you learned something along the way, and kind of go ahead and describe that for folks.
Sure. So first I want to explain, like, there's a condition called endometriosis, and this is, there is a lining called the endometrium, and it grows out of the uterus. And when it does that, it attaches itself to different parts of your body. So I have to say, I was never diagnosed with that. But what I've heard other women who have been, I had very similar experiences. I'm going to say I can't remember every menstrual cycle from the age of 13 to the age of 34, or when I had my first baby, you know what I mean? But I will say I remember specifically having a dental operation and taking Vicodin, and that coincided with a menstrual cycle. And I was so relieved that I had no menstrual pain. And it took a Vicodin and Tylenol 800 to not have any pain. Luckily, I had 2 cents available of my mind while on those drugs to not continue taking those drugs. But because those 2 things made the pain go away, but it made me feel very crazy at the same time.
Okay.
So you don't feel your mind, your heart, your soul when you're on Vicodin. So, but it was just very interesting at that moment in time, it took that level of narcotics not to experience the pain that I would experience. And I also want to say that if you were like me, you thought it was normal what you were experiencing. And I thought this was something very normal. I thought that other women could just deal with pain, and I had like an extremely low tolerance of pain, when actually it was the complete reverse. The what I was experiencing is not normal. You should not be debilitated, stuck in bed, feeling like throwing up, terrible headaches, like one time almost fainting and at work. I want to explain all these things because I try to explain it because it's not understood how much pain you go through. And then when I had kids, it changed. It really did change a lot, but I still dealt with some painful cycles, but nothing like it was before. So within 2 weeks of being on the carnivore diet, and I think I don't remember. I don't remember I was eating cheese at the time, because I realized recently that cheese will make that a little bit more inflamed, that whole cycle. But within 3 weeks of the carnivore diet, my period showed up, and I had like no pain. And I was like, what is going on here? I had some weird pain like a week before, and now it's happened so many times that I will deal with 1 hour of strange cramping a week before my menstrual cycle than ever deal with how I dealt with it for 13 years. Or 20 years or whatever, however long it was. I don't know how to explain it other than a girl said that she had endometriosis and also broke her shoulder. And she said her shoulder breaking was less painful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So
how do I handle it now?
yes,
I
yes.
just eat
For the
beef,
women
butter,
that are
bacon, and eggs.
struggling with it now, what do they do?
So, have babies. No, I'm just joking. Infertility is actually, I blame the burgers that I always was addicted to for my fertility. But apparently infertility is a side effect or a symptom of endometriosis also, in addition to the pain. But I would recommend no sugar, no refined carbohydrates. I would recommend like strict beef, butter, bacon, and eggs for 30 to 90 days, and possibly D3, vitamin D3. No, sorry, wrong. Evening primrose oil and beef, butter,
Okay.
bacon, and eggs. And try that for 90 days and see what happens to your symptoms. And the reason I say evening primrose oil is because if I did that strategically earlier before I had kids, I noticed that did help. And I tried so many different things because people would give me advice who knew better. You know what I mean? No one ever told me not to eat sugar, not to eat carbohydrates, not to eat French fries. Like, I don't think anyone had a freaking clue, but that's what I'm going to tell people now.
So for people like me who have no idea, I've heard of primrose oil, but what is that? How do you take it?
It's like I confused it with D3 because it's just like a little capsule of.
Okay.
And I think like 1,000 international units. I was taking it every day of the month when I was smart enough to remember to take it, because you're supposed to take it within like middle of your cycle to when your menstrual cycle starts is what you're supposed to do. But I just took it every day. But I think if you can't be smart like I wasn't when I was in my 20s, do it every day, or do it from the midway of your cycle if it's regular to the end of your cycle. But beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, because when you don't eat these inflammatory foods, you're going to be less inflamed. In endometriosis, for everything I've studied about it, it's either autoimmune or it's genetic. And I don't know if it was in both cases, if I had it for both cases, because my mom and also my grandmother experienced the same situation. But I can understand that it's an autoimmune condition because it's like a part of your body that's growing out of place and attaching itself to places it shouldn't be. And so it's very much connected to your hormonal cycle. So if you have a piece of your uterus, it's not really your uterus, but that grew out and it's attached to your butt, and now your butt's cramping also while your uterus is cramping, and then it's somehow maybe attached to your thighs, and now you have this cramping in your thighs, but it's just extremely painful. And I don't think any woman should ever have to deal with that, especially with what I know now. I'm so glad some people are here listening to this, because what I know now, if we can get the word out, I think there could be less suffering. Maybe it's not 100% a solution. I don't know. It just happened to work for me, but I do know that you're going to be way less inflamed not eating crap. Yeah. At least stop eating the McDonald's.
Yeah. All right. So I appreciate that. I don't really have any follow-up questions. If you have a question for Alia and you're just joining us, go ahead and put those questions in the comments. We'll try to save some time at the end for her to answer those.
Yeah.
The next thing I wanted to ask you about is, let's talk about thyroid issues.
Sure.
So tell us about your experience and what's working for you.
Okay, so in 2017, my first child was born in August 2018. In that pregnancy, it was fine. The pregnancy was fine. I gained a lot of weight. I gained like a ridiculous amount of weight. That was like, I went from like maybe 150, 160, which is just me being chubby, but like normal looking. Now that I look back, I look like a normal size. Yeah. So I think I got up to like 215, 220 in that pregnancy. Wow. So the pregnancy was, I just ate out of control. I was super
like
out of
60
control.
or 70 pounds.
Yeah, it's unnecessary. Yeah. Unnecessary. So baby was born with an emergency C-section, and then I was hospitalized for a couple weeks after that with an infection. It was just a disaster. Okay, so after I get out of the hospital, still sick, it took like a month to recover from that whole ordeal. So I think this is when my thyroid issue started, because from what I've read, maybe Dr. AJ can answer in the comments to see if maybe he'll notice whether or not I'm saying things correctly. Apparently your thyroid is very, I don't know, not weak. I'm trying, fragile. Fragile is the word. And when you have like something traumatic happen, it could affect your thyroid. So moving forward, I'm nursing. Life is really stressful at this moment in time. I'm still eating terribly. Just things seemed really stressful. Move forward to May of 2017, and I get my blood work done. And apparently I think it was the TSH. My numbers might be wrong because I'm trying to remember. I couldn't find the results. But the doctor told me he was angry, or at least annoyed. He didn't seem very happy with me. Let's just put it that way. And he said, and I think I'm saying this word for word, your thyroid results are dangerously high. And so that convinced me that I should take some Synthroid or whatever.
Synthroid? Yeah.
Synthroid, yeah. So I took that for a little while and I said, screw this. I feel terrible. I feel worse taking it. So I'm not taking this anymore. But I think the TSH was like 10. Now in Colombia, they call it like thousands. Like, I'm going to tell you my numbers now. I can tell you my last two numbers.
Okay.
But the TSH was 10. Maybe it was 1,000. I don't remember. I don't know if it's written down differently in the US. And I don't remember the other numbers, but that is very high. So that means that the brain keeps telling the thyroid to produce more hormone. At the same time, I think I was 200 and possibly 20, between, I think 215 and 225 pounds. I just popped the photo up there if you want to show it.
Oh, okay. We
This
can
is
do
from
that.
August, I think August. So here we go.
Let
My friend
me.
of mine says this is beach ball status.
Wow. Okay.
So this was the height of my thyroid not working. And there's my baby Jacob. He's 7 now. So moving forward, I got pregnant again. I think in this photo, I was actually pregnant again with baby number 2. So I'm doing things that are very stressful to the body, very close to each other.
Yeah.
And then I got some, when I was pregnant with my daughter, I was in Colombia. So that photo's from Chicago, by the way. And the doctors wanted me to go back on thyroid medications because they said that it would affect the baby's thyroid, is what I understood. So I had to take it so I didn't screw up her thyroid. If that's true, I don't know.
That's interesting. Like
that's what I understood. I mean, my Spanish wasn't so good at the time, and that's what I understood.
Okay.
So I had to take it to not screw up the baby somehow. So I took it at least sometime during my pregnancy, and that when it was over, I was done. In that pregnancy, I happened to lose a lot of weight because I couldn't eat very much food. I was nauseated, or I had acid reflux, et cetera, et cetera. So I lost a lot of weight in that pregnancy. After the pregnancy, it just, slowly over time came back. And I was, like I said at the beginning, back to 210. And then I had years of IBS, and I was sick of it. I say these terms, but I hardly go to a doctor. So I'm just, but if you have diarrhea, like too much, I think it's IBS. Always bloated. Sometimes so many, like I have to lie down. I can't work right now. My stomach hurts too bad. And I was also like trying to eat healthy. So for the first time in my life, I'm eating a ridiculous amount of salads. Like I used to eat vegetables and like little salads, maybe here and there. But no, I was like, there'd be times I would concentratedly eat salads to try to do the right thing with my body. And then like, I like Dr. Berg. I know people have whatever because he's not totally carnivore and he promotes vegetables. So I tried to do the 10 cups of vegetables a day. I was, I grew up eating burgers, and that's why I said it was so easy for me to get pregnant because I love red meat so much. But then here now family's like, well, red meat's not good for you, blah, blah, blah. And this is like the first time, really? It's not good for you? Okay. All right. So I'll eat the dry chicken and I'll eat the salads and I'll have IBS for 6 years.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't eat that way for 6 years because I would super fall off the wagon when my stomach would be inflamed. I'd start craving carbohydrates. So now I'm going to go, it was like this, do you say vicious circle or vicious cycle? It would be like, okay, now I'm going to be good. Now I'm going to fall off. Now I'm going to be good. Now I'm going to fall off. And I'm going to fall off for like a year. Okay, time to be good again.
Right.
But yeah, finally it came to a head. And last year I was watching, I kept getting shown videos on YouTube, kept pushing Dr. Barry. And one day I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to it.
Yep.
And then it was like, oh man, he's got a Southern accent. And then I just binged all of his stuff. But really it was, wow, Southern accent. I'm sold.
He's so easy to listen to, right? Yeah. He's just the friendly doctor from down the street kind of thing. And makes it very manageable to kind of learn as you go. So I wanted to pause and
I think I might have said the wrong term, actually. Hypo. I keep saying hyper. I mean hypothyroid. It's a slow thyroid. Because I think I must have said hypo because Dr. AJ says hyperthyroidism, it's like the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever. If I said it wrong, I meant it the other way.
Okay. I get them mixed up too. My wife struggles with, I believe it's hyper, but it could be hypo. I'm not sure. So I did want to take a second and kind of hit a couple of these comments. Dr. AJ also said, yes, evening primrose oil is great as long as they avoid dairy.
So yeah, dairy screws me up even now. Even if I'll crave it, I got to stay away from it.
Yeah. Acant, I guess, is how I would say that name.
Yeah.
Says bones were so brittle on a vegan diet. I had 2 bone fractures. Went on carnivore, and I cured my severe iron and calcium deficiencies on a vegan diet is a thing. I hear that a lot. I never
Yeah.
did vegan, but I'm glad you found carnivore.
Me too.
Sigma, reduced reduced period pain when eating clean carnivore. I have
Mhm.
no health complications. My period is nearly painless on carnivore.
Yes.
Occasional lower back discomfort that is barely noticeable. That's
That's
awesome.
awesome. That's fantastic.
All right. Another comment from Dr. AJ. Many carnivores yell at me about evening primrose oil because it is not carnivore. Well,
Yeah, well, they've never had endometriosis, so there you go. Or any PCOS or anything like that. If they did, they would stop yelling.
at the end of the day, folks, we're worried about what works, right? What
Right.
is healthy for us, what gives us the best results. And if it didn't come from an animal, we'll just have to live with it if it gets us.
Oh, I'm an avid coffee drinker. I live in the it's called the coffee capital of Colombia. Okay. So,
So
oh,
you just felt the need to go ahead and confess that, right?
yeah, because we're talking about evening primrose oil as a problem. Oh man, let's just talk about coffee for a second. My friend Brooke is here.
Joseph is reminding everyone, hit the like button, please. We appreciate it. Helps us get the attention of the YouTube algorithm to bring some more folks to join in the conversation. Appreciate that. Sigma says, stop the McDonald's. I know the burgers are said to be fine, but just going is a part of my food addiction. I created a habit that is hard to change by visiting the drive-thru after work each day.
Yeah.
I heard that. That's
Oh yeah, it's so easy. Or Wendy's all night
in
Chicago.
just makes the habit form, right?
Right.
And
oh yeah, so this is very true. This is very true.
Oh wow. Okay.
I've done many. We did as soon as my daughter starts complaining her butt itches, we're just everybody in the house is doing parasite meds. Also not carnivore, but you don't live here.
Not gonna hate on the meds for that.
No.
Okay.
I think that you're supposed to do it every 6 months in South America, but I'm really curious if it's really the same in the US. We just don't confront it because doctors don't talk about it there. And I wonder if people are loaded full of parasites, especially when we're addicted to these carbohydrates, and that's what parasites love. Yeah, it's just a thought. Just a thought. Sorry to be so gross, but I've gotten over it. I had my first scare, and now I'm just used to it.
All right, so I'm going to ask a couple more questions again.
Oh, but can I? I just want to finish what we're talking about on the thyroid stuff. So,
yeah,
I got my blood work done in May, and maybe I'm saying these numbers wrong, or they're not going to make sense with US how they're said in the US, but you can see the difference at least. So, in May, when I did 3 months in, approximately May, March, April, May, yeah, about 3 months in. End of May. The TSH was 5,000. Let's just call it 5.1. We're just going to call it 5.1, the TSH. And the ranges for TSH per this in Colombia is like 0.35 to 4.9. And Dr. AJ, I know I'm saying these wrong. I just want to make it make sense for everybody who's listening.
Okay.
So remember the number of 10 in Chicago in 2017. TSH 10-ish, maybe 12. I don't remember. I'm going to get those blood results. Somehow I'm going to get them from my hospital next time I go. So 10 down to 5. Sometime in the past to 3 months ago, 3 months into carnivore. And then the T3 and T4 were in the normal ranges. But if the TSH is high, it's not working. Obviously, something's not working correctly. Okay. So, and I would love to talk to Dr. AJ. I would love to talk to you because you're here and you would understand these blood results. And I refuse to go see a doctor who would want to put me on statin.
Well,
so this is from last week. So the TSH went from 5 down to 4 and is in the normal range. It's like 9 points under the normal like the high end of the range, it's 9 points lower. So
Okay.
3 additional months of doing carnivore, and I'm taking iodine, which is recommended by Dr. Berry and Dr. Bright, taking iodine in my water. It brought the TSH to a normal level within 6 months of being on carnivore. So I think that's pretty amazing, because you have to understand, I don't take thyroid meds. And I was trying to talk to another doctor, and I speak good Spanish, like conversationally, but when it comes to like medical stuff, I get a little confused. But I don't think he believed me when I told him what my test results were from 3 months ago to now. But maybe it could just be the language barrier also.
Okay.
But yeah, exactly. There you go. I just wanted to show that, because I think that's crazy that like within 6 months, that TSH, which used to be super high, or even if I'm wrong about what it was in 2017, even 3 months ago, it was above where it's supposed to be. And now it's in a normal range just from eating this way. I do eat a lot of fat though. I will just snack on butter. A protocol of Dr. Bright is like eat a stick of butter a day and take iodine. And I can't do a stick of butter a day.
Ooh, that's a lot. Yeah.
That's a lot. But she's specifically talking about for women.
Yeah.
To produce the hormones.
I know there are a lot of women YouTubers that share that they do that. And I have no desire to try. A chunk here and there.
Yeah.
Maybe as a little tide me over. Some on my meat here and there, but not just eating a whole stick. I don't.
Yeah, I know. But I will be like making eggs and just like eating butter while I'm scrambling some eggs, or I'm doing something. Oh, I know. Okay. You can ask more questions, but I gotta do a plug in for my soup. You boil water, throw a bunch of eggs in there. When it's boiled, like slowly drip in the whites and then put the yolk in. I don't really like the whites. And then
kind of like an egg drop soup.
Like an egg drop soup, but just when you're done, just take all the yolks out with a little bit of that salty water and then toss like a spoon of butter in there. It is like fall soup heaven time. Everyone wants to eat soup in the fall. Oh man, it's so good. It goes down so easy. I love it. There you
go. Okay. All right.
That's my egg butter soup.
So the next question I have for you is pretty easy. So tell us about yourself, your family, your career, that kind of stuff.
Sure. I told you a little bit about myself. So I've only been talking about myself. I love meat. I love cheeseburgers without all the extra stuff. I should probably get rid of the cheese. Let's see. I am a mom of 2 kids, 5 and 7. I'm married to a Colombian man, and we do some real estate research. That's what we do for a living. We research real estate.
Okay.
And that's fun. But what else do you want to know about me? I like to listen to John Mayer, Taylor Swift, sometimes Kanye West, maybe a little Post Malone, lots of jazz and classical music. If I'm in Texas, I'll listen to a lot of country music.
So talk a little bit about your choice to move to Colombia. Did you already know your husband, or did you move there without?
No. Oh, no. I was here for some work. I was working for a nonprofit in 2015, and I happened to meet him. But like I said, I fell in love with Colombia in seconds, and then I met him and fell in love with him a little bit later. So I didn't come to Colombia to look for a husband. It just happened that way. Okay, so here's an interesting tidbit. In my early 20s, early 30s, like it started in my, I think, late 20s, where I was like interested in having kids, but it really wasn't on the plan. It wasn't on the life plan to have kids. And then
like at all?
Like pretty much at all. Like sometimes I thought about it, but it wasn't in my plan, because we're weirdos, right? Because that's like normal now. We need to have our careers. Oh boy. Change your thought processes, ladies. It's fun being a mom. Let's see. So, but my husband also had no intention of having kids. And then we kind of met each other and we're like, hey, very rapidly, we're like, do you want to have a family? So it was very funny. I guess the right person at the right time will maybe change your perspective on things. Sure. But I'm glad I changed my mind. I love my kids so much. It's the hardest job I've ever had, but the most fulfilling at the same time. If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
my
Though
son is so smart. I don't know. He's wise beyond his years at 7 years old.
becoming a parent makes you feel the most unprepared, I think, of any job. Okay, so next question: how does your family eat?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Do you do carnivore with your kids? Does your husband do it? Tell us about it.
So that's a good question. I would say everybody in my household is probably between 75 and 80% carnivore now. My kids, we have fruit for them. My husband has no metabolic issues. He's just like thin his whole life. If he works out, he'll put on some muscle. But he's never had any issues at all whatsoever. And I will say probably because the culture here in Colombia, the food is better. Even if there is rice and beans, it's not like the standard American diet. There is a lot of carbohydrates, but it's different. With that said, there's definitely some obese people here, but I look around and I think of like my trip to Walmart last year when I was visiting my uncle, and I was like 200, I'll go 213 pounds or whatever, 215, looking around thinking I was skinny. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
normal size. And you come here and it's not like that.
Mm,
People are more, you're going to see more normal sized human beings than very obese.
right.
So yeah, so he's always been thin. So with that said, he was also concerned about eating all the meat, but now he eats a ton of meat. So I'm very
Mhm.
happy about that. And he's like, he reorganized the fridge. So there's like racks. So we just have like, we have some like pork belly, and then we have like meat stacked on top of each other. And we've got some organs in the freezer.
Okay.
And then butter and a few other things. And that's basically what's in the fridge. We've been trying to educate our kids because of the subject of parasites. We educate them like if you eat a lot of sugar, your parasites are going to grow faster, blah, blah,
Oh,
blah. And it's true.
okay.
Like
Yeah.
it's true. They love dairy. Apparently, parasites love dairy and carbohydrates. So, because of
Okay.
that, and we want them to grow up with the idea that you should eat healthy. And this is really what healthy is. And
Yeah.
so they love meat, they love eggs, they love all that stuff. But if we go outside and they ask for ice cream, they can have it.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
don't want
I
them
mean,
also to be like, oh, my parents are so cultish when they're older about eating meat. They don't let us have anything. And then they just
right.
go the other way.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to buckle them down so bad that when they hit 18 or 20, they go balloon mode and
Yeah.
explode their whole life, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because all the problems, all the metabolic problems that will occur.
Yeah.
Um, and they're very active and they're outside a lot and they're playing a lot. So, the little bit of sugar. But was it last week or 2 weeks ago was my son's birthday, and the very next day was somebody else's birthday. They were crazy after 2 days of sugar. They
Oh
were
no.
like nuts. So we still got to put like a little bit of a leash on it, but it's not, you won't find cereal, biscuits, cookies. That stuff's not in the house.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
You have
good.
to walk 3 blocks, 4 blocks to get that. So,
You got to really mean it.
yeah, you got to really mean it. And I mean, sometimes like I'll have like a couple bites of like Greek yogurt with some stevia in it, but I'm trying to really cut out the dairy completely. So I would say I'm like 95% strict with like sometimes a little leeway. Oh, is that where my coffee is and the other 5%?
That's like 4% of your
Yeah,
leeway.
yeah, exactly.
All right.
Um,
Well,
yeah.
let's Aaliyah, I know that you have kind of a
I
hard
think we're
stop
okay for a little while. I don't hear any kids in the house yet, so they're still at the park. I think we're okay for a little while longer.
okay.
Yeah, but I will
Well,
tell you if I hear them.
okay. I was gonna tell everyone she's not gonna be able to stay on for an hour and a half or something like that.
Oh yeah,
So
no.
if you have a question for her, go ahead and put it in the comments. There's at least one other topic that I really want to talk about before the end of the stream, but
Okay.
we're going to go ahead and look through some comments now. Since I don't read that,
It says no te preocupes, which is like, and by the way, my accents are really bad. It means like no worries. Don't worry about it.
oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well, um, Okay, talking about the parasites and the bacteria. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
All right. Um, haven't seen you
While
in a
you're
while.
popping these up, I want to say within 2 weeks of being on carnivore, my 6 years of bowel issues cleared up. I think even before 2 weeks, it might have been like 6 days in a carnivore.
Yeah.
All my gut issues seem to have resolved.
Very
If I
good.
eat too much or if I eat too much fat, specifically pork fat, I'll feel off, but it never like it was before.
Mm. Overcoming Carb says my wife is a huge Meyer fan.
I like her even more now.
All right.
We spoke last week.
All right. Dr. AJ must have heard you saying that you really wanted to talk to him. So,
Oh yeah, I
all
did do a
right.
YouTube video.
Super. All right. Let's see.
Yeah, exactly. This is John Mayer lyrics. I was literally listening to this morning.
All right. I'm just trying to look through and make sure we're
Brooke
asking
has a. Oh yeah, I see a question from B Meets Brooke.
this one here.
I don't know
It
because
may
I don't go to the
sound taboo to
doctor.
talk about what are Colombians pro. Okay.
So I don't know. So my husband's sister works for a plastic surgeon, and unless I got the translation wrong, she brought her "I've been vaccinated" card. Didn't really get vaccinated for the one.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. It depends who you're talking to. I don't know.
Yeah.
My kids did get some vaccinations early on, and then I learned more about it, but we didn't get that one. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I think here's the point. Colombians are like the nicest people, and I think they're even Colombia is known to be like the friendliest country in South America. And my husband sometimes says they're like, we're too nice. And so if their doctor says do XYZ, they're not going to be like, oh, not do it. Do you get what I'm saying? The doctor says do it, I'm going to do it.
They just
So
they're just
maybe not everybody, but in
obedient
general.
people pleasers.
Yeah, yeah.
In the States, it really depends on which state you live in, right?
Yeah.
Some fall in line and others are rebellious by default. And,
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
all
I
right.
hear the kids now. Mike Shaw TV. Hello, Mike Shaw TV. I do
Do
drink
you
coffee.
drink coffee?
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
So
It is
she was
amazing.
just talking about that. She does drink coffee. I quit coffee almost a year ago. October 1st will be my anniversary of giving up coffee.
And I
And
applaud you.
I
Actually.
I'm shocked I don't miss it because I drank so much of it for so many years. But all right. Before we end, I did want to ask you to please tell everybody about what's
Oh,
happening
thank
on
you.
September 16th.
So I am first of all, more important, it's my birthday. I'll be 40 years old.
The big 4-0. I wish
The
I
big
had a sound
4-0.
effect to go off.
Oh, it's okay. Yay! Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's see. September 16th with Homestead How, Carnivore Today, and Intentional Carnivore Sean White, we are hosting a 24-hour live stream. It's got some mega people that are going to be there. Dr. Chafee, Dr. Baker, Dr. Robert Kiltz, Dr. Tony Hampton, Bella the Steak and Butter Gal, Amanda, Carnivorous Me. I'm just remembering the names off the top of my head. I might forget some. And a lot more people. A lot more people are going to be there. Bill Knott, if you guys heard of him, the guy in Alaska, the great guy in Alaska. I don't want to just say the guy in Alaska. Sometimes I say stuff and I might sound like a jerk, and I don't mean to. I'm just kind of like that, and sometimes I'm a little aloof myself. And so there's going to be a ton of people there, and the purpose of this is to promote the documentary Carrie is producing called the Carnivore Diet documentary. So I helped on a 10-hour live stream. I was there for about 3 hours about a month ago, and he had an anonymous donator match everything up to $10,000, and I think in the live stream we did about $9,000, so we made $18,000 that day. We're hoping that in this next live stream, people will be inspired to help us generate the last of the funds needed so that we don't have to do any more fundraising, or he could just finish the documentary. And
So
that would
what's
be
the
awesome.
goal? So how much do they lack? Do you know?
Well, I'm not a film producer yet, but I think something like this we need like $250,000. But Carrie seems to think if we had another 50, he'd be able to do it because it's basically him and his daughter who are gonna road trip around the country to do the documentary.
They're kind of bootstrapping a lot of the cost, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly. But if
that's
anyone
very
wants to
cool.
do 250,000, that'd be cool. And just take out a mortgage or two.
So if you didn't get in on it before now and you haven't contributed to it, you definitely should uh, consider it. I'm not telling you that you have to pony up or anything like that, but it's great to support things that are generally helping the overall community, and I'd encourage you to definitely consider it. I logged in during the 10-hour live stream that he did a few weeks ago and was blown away at how many people were um, on the live stream, both in the chat and as hosts or guests. And it was really good to see all kinds of new carnivores and keto people and everything sharing their story on the live stream. And I'm sure there will be a lot of value in just logging in and watching whenever you can. And whether you contribute before that or during it, it's a great cause to be kind of sharing the story
Mhm.
across the world, really, with other folks. We
Right.
can't just complain about the standard American diet and the folks that are pushing the other diets that we don't believe in if we're not willing to contribute to changing people's minds and persuading, right? So I
Exactly.
definitely wanted to draw attention to that since you're so involved in it. That's super.
Yeah, I'll be there. I don't know if I'll be there for 24 hours, but at least 18. At least 18. Oh.
18. Okay. I'll let Carrie know that you committed to 18. That's great.
Yeah, and then in live stream a few days ago, he's like, I will do 27, 30 hours. I'm like, you know what? I can't do Sunday. I got to actually celebrate my birthday.
I'm wondering if YouTube just like implodes after that
Yeah,
long
right.
or something. All right.
This is the last question from Spirit Junkie. Hello, Spirit Junkie.
It,
What
this
are
is
your
the last
preferred
one I
fats?
see so far.
Okay, so
Preferred fat.
I like butter also, and I like tallow, and I like it in there. Um, I do like to cook things in, like we have lard, pig fat. What is it called? Is it called lard or pig fat? Is
Uh,
the pig fat what comes out of the food when you cook it? Anyways, I save that grease, and I love frying, like reverse searing, I guess is what it's called. Your steaks in it. It just
okay.
takes like next level. But if I eat too much pork belly, I will feel sick.
Mm. So I do the bacon grease. I collect it because I
Okay, yeah,
I
bacon grease. There
do
you go.
bacon in the air fryer all the time, and that
Mm,
just makes it super easy to pour it in a container.
yeah.
And so I will cook anything in that if there's an opportunity for it. If I were going to cook chicken, I'm going to throw a bunch of bacon fat in the
Oh
bottom
yeah.
of the crock pot and throw the chicken in there so it just soaks it all up. Something like that. Cook my eggs in it, that kind of thing. And then of course butter, but that's just easy, right?
That's easy. I love butter. Did I say that yet? By the way, butter here is so much better than in the US. Okay, there you go. I think all the cows are grass fed. I have not
Okay.
researched this, but the meat tastes so much better here. Maybe that's just I don't know what they're fed, but it tastes better.
Well, it sounds like
It's
Carnivore
Carnivore
Brothers is going to
Brothers.
be looking forward to that.
Yes.
And also said
Oh,
happy
those are both really sweet. It's until you see my neck and then you realize that.
birthday. That's where your 40 years are
Yeah.
accumulating.
Yeah, exactly.
Very
Thank
cool.
you so much. I will say, like, I look a lot younger since doing carnivore, but my mom looked very young for a long time, also. So, and I think she still looks kind of young.
Mhm.
So, I think it's the combination of those two things. Because if you look back at the fat photo, I probably looked older there
Mhm.
as 6 years ago.
Yeah. Over
And that's
time,
just
over time is shocking how many folks look so much younger the longer they do carnivore,
yeah.
or or it's like they're freezing time and they don't look like they're aging while the rest of us are,
Are
progressing. So,
yeah, exactly. I mean, if anyone wants to go look, my first video I uploaded was the third day on carnivore. I thought I started my channel the first day, but I uploaded my first video on the third day. It was a short. And then I think if you even look at my 5th day review of carnivore, I was really excited about it. But my face is very swollen. It's very swollen. Even my nose looks bigger. Like everything
the
was swollen, and I look older. And maybe even my skin looked worse. Like it looked gray. I
I
think
went back
maybe
and
not gray.
watched I went back and watched your first few videos, and there's a dramatic difference between the first or second one and about like a week or two later. I was like, wow, like you got some immediate results really quickly. It
Yeah.
seemed like to me.
So here, this is what we haven't talked about. I've lost in the last 6 months 30 pounds. I lost 20 of that in like a month and a half.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure that's water. And here's what I'm going to say. I hate when people are like, oh, that's just water weight, like kind of snooty, because get the water out. Your body doesn't like it. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's super inflaming. Great. You lost 20 pounds of water weight, 10 pounds, 100 pounds of water weight. Like fantastic. You are going to be so much healthier without that attached to your body.
I I doubt that 20 pounds of it would be water. I mean, I'm sure there's some water in there, but that's a lot. But either way, that's a lot of impact on your joints and all
Right.
kinds of stuff, inflammation that you're not really designed to be carrying. So that's
Right.
fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I think I could stand to lose like 50 more pounds. And maybe I'm nuts, but I was here. And then we'll end off soon. But let's see. When I was 27, let's just say I was 135 pounds, but I think I was skinnier than that at 27. So I could literally stand to lose 43 pounds still, which
Okay.
is crazy because I know I look so skinny now.
You look better, you feel better, but you
Yeah.
still feel like there's a ways to go.
Yeah, there's still ways to
Yeah.
go. And what I love about carnivore, any other diet, you're like, okay, the 30 days are almost up, and then I can go back to eating my pizza
Right.
and McDonald's and Wendy's. When you're on carnivore, you come to it for not just to lose weight. There's always usually a different reason attached to it. So for me, this is not like
You
a
can't
race.
wait to stop. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not, yeah, I can't, it's not like I'm waiting to stop because I'm just going to do this for as long as I'm going to, live, I think. I thought I was going to do it for 90 days, but now I'm going to do it forever with my body.
Well, and once you settle into that mindset, then it's not like so urgent that you hit your goals and your targets and everything, because I have the next 10, 20 years to
Right.
gradually get better and better at what I'm doing and let my body heal and be more consistent. That just takes a lot of the stress out of it. You're not
Yeah.
trying to, break some code. You found the code. You're just letting it
Yeah.
run.
And
So,
your quality of life so much improves. I didn't talk about every little thing. And honestly, I keep forgetting it. But I remember I was talking to Dave Mack and I'm like, I just started doing the dishes again. I started cleaning the bathroom like the first week on carnivore. And that's huge because my poor husband has been cleaning the house for so many years with very little
mhm,
help from me because I just felt so bad. I'd be working and then I would want to just go sit on the couch and watch TV with the kids. I wouldn't want to like exert myself. And now
yeah,
I'm at the park or we're going to the pool. We got a pool here. We moved here so I could go swimming because there's a pool here.
yeah,
And it wasn't really until carnivore that I fully utilized the fact that I have a gorgeous pool. Of course I used it, but it would be like, oh man, now I got to get the kids stuff on. I have to get my stuff on. I got to put the sunblock on. I got to do all these things before I even get to the pool. And then, yeah, blah, blah. And then they're la, 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 all the excuses, but really the excuse, you just don't want to do things. You rather just sit on a couch.
yeah,
Or in
yeah.
my case, I don't know if that's everybody's case, but I think it's a
No,
lot.
and it's those little intangible things that are hard to explain to people. I was probably 3 or 4 months into carnivore. I work in an office building where there's one extra floor, like
Yeah.
a 2-story building, and there's an elevator that some
Two
people take,
stories.
right? And I always walk up the stairs, but I found myself like jumping up the stairs like I used to
Oh,
do when I was
wow.
a teenager.
Yeah.
And I kind of like realized like I haven't done that in like 15, 20 years. Like what just made me do that? I just
Right.
feel good.
Right.
And that kind of thing is it's hard to explain to people. Like
Right.
you're gonna feel like doing more. And
Exactly.
it's
Or walking
fantastic.
or yeah, I'm just doing I feel like I'm moving my body a lot more and it's a lot easier to it. Or like bending down in the shower to help my kids take a shower, like bending over. I wouldn't want to like bend over to get to pick up the soap they put on the floor. And you know what? I still want you drop the soap, you pick it up. But just to do or one day I'm bending over to clean my feet as opposed to trying to lift my feet up to me. Do you understand? Like these stupid little things because
Yeah.
your back's not going to hurt, your stomach's not going to hurt if you bend over, like you're not squeezing everything. I like that, those intangible things. Yeah, people don't get it until you try it for 30 days and see what intangible things happen to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, I think we're a little bit out of time.
Yep. So, everyone, thank you so much for joining. If you're just catching us at the end of the live stream, want to invite you to go back, watch it through, leave us a question in the comment section of our video. I'm happy to read through your comments, share your victories, your stories of struggles, or your questions, and I'm sure Aaliyah would be happy to answer some of your questions. If
Awesome.
you're not subscribed to her yet, go over and click on her channel. And if you're not subscribed to me, I'd love to have you do the same. Do the same. I'm trying to understand what you're doing.
I'm
Okay.
trying to point to you.
All right.
I have one more plug. Tomorrow
Okay.
night, Keto Cookout, my channel. Come and check it out.
All
Keto
right.
Cookout, lots of fun.
That's
8
a
p.m. Central.
weekly tradition on your
Yeah.
channel, right?
Yes. And I might throw cereal on my head. It happened once, might not happen
Throw
again.
cereal on your head.
I was
All
singing a song and it ended in a box of cereal on my head.
right. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Thank you, Aaliyah, for coming to share your story. Have a
Yeah,
good night,
sure.
everyone.
Good night.